Welcome to my video. Today we're going to continue on with second Esdras, starting with chapter 7. And if time permit, we'll go to chapter 8. I'm going to read the Good News translation after each chapter for more clarification. And so with that, okay, and I'm going to take myself off of the screen. And we're just going to go into the text. Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Kal Halal Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Wahab Kwa Kodesh. All praises, honor, and glory and power to Yahweh, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, our Lord and Savior. Double honors and respect to the elders, apostles, prophets, and teachers of Great Millstone, which is taught and is still teaching me and others this truth. Great respect to fellow believers, the Akim and Aquath, and the remnant of Israel, which include 144,000 and a one-third mixed multitude, promise mercy and salvation from our Lord. All right, so I'm going to just get into it, but first let me set up my timer so that I'll be within the parameter to do everything I want to do. And where is it? This must be it. There you go. Okay. Okay, so with that, I'm going to share my screen and we're going to begin. Okay, make it a little bigger. All right. Second Esdras, chapter 7, verse 1. And when I had made an end of speaking these words, there was sent unto me the angel which has been sent unto me the nights before. And he said unto me, Up, Esdras, and hear the words that I am come to tell thee. And I said, Speak on, my power. Then said he unto me, The sea is set in a wide place, that it might be deep and great. But put case the ends were narrow and like a river. Who then can go into the sea to look upon it and to rule it? If he went not through the narrow, how could he come into the broad? There is also another thing. A city is built and set upon a broad field, and it is full of all good things. The entrance thereof is narrow, and set in a dangerous place to fall, like as if there were a fire on the right hand, and on the left a deep water, and only one path between them both, even between the fire and the water, so small that there can but one man go there at once. If this city now were given unto a man for an inheritance, if he never shall pass the danger set before it, how shall he receive his inheritance? And I said, It is so, Lord. Then said he unto me, Even so also is Israel's portion, because for their sakes I made the world. And when Adam transgressed my statutes, then was decreed that now is done. Then were the entrances of this world made narrow, full of sorrow and travail. They are but few and evil, full of perils and very painful. For the entrances of the elder world were wide and sure, and brought immortal fruit. If then they that live labor not to enter these straits and vain things, they could never receive those that are laid up for them. Now therefore thou disquietest thyself, seeing thou art but a corruptible man. And why art thou moved, whereas thou art but mortal? Why hast thou not considered in thy mind this thing that is to come, rather than that which is present? Then answered I and said, O Lord, thou bearest rule. Thou hast ordained in thy law that the righteous should inherit these things, but that the ungodly should perish. Nevertheless, the righteous suffer straight things and hope for wide. For they that have done wickedly have suffered the straight things, and yet shall not see the wide. And he said unto me, There is no judge above Yahweh, and and none that hath understanding above the highest. For there be many that perish in this life, because they despite the law of Yahweh that is set before them. For Yahweh hath given straight commandment to such as came what they could do to live, even as they came, and what should otherwise avoid, to avoid punishment. Nevertheless, they were not obedient unto him, but spake against him and imagined vain things, and deceived themselves by their wicked deeds, and said of the Most High that he is not, and knew not his ways, but his law have they despised, and denied his covenant. And his statutes have they not been faithful, and have not performed his works. And therefore Esdras, for the empty are empty things, and for the full are the full things. Behold, the time shall come that these tokens which I have told thee should come to pass, and the bride should appear, and she coming forth shall be seen, and now is withdrawn from the earth. And whosoever is delivered from the forehead evils shall see my wonders. For my son Jehoshaphat shall be revealed with those that be with him, and they that remain shall rejoice within 400 years. After these years shall my son Jehoshaphat die, son Amasiah die, and all men that have life, and the world shall return into the old silence 7 days, like in the former judgments, so that no man shall remain. And after 7 days, the world that yet awakeneth not shall be raised up, and that shall die that is corrupt. And the earth shall restore those that are asleep in her, and so shall the dust, those that dwell in silence, and the secret places shall deliver those souls that were committed unto them. And the Most High shall appear upon the seat of judgment, and misery shall pass away, and the long suffering shall have an end. But judgment only shall remain, truth shall stand, and faith shall wax strong. And the work shall follow, and the reward shall be shewed, and the good deeds shall be of force, and wicked deeds shall bear no rule. Then said I, Abraham prayed first for the Sodomites, and Moses for the fathers that sinned in the wilderness. And Yahushua after him for Israel in the time of Achan, and Samuel and David for the destruction, and Solomon for them that should come to the sanctuary, and Helias for those that receive rain, and for the dead that might live, and Ezekiel for the people in time of Sennacherib, and many for many. And so now, seeing corruption is grown up, and wickedness increased, and the righteous have prayed for the ungodly, wherefore shall it not be so now also? He answered me and said, This present life is not the end, where much glory doth abide. Therefore have I prayed for the weak. But the day of doom shall be the end of this time, and the beginning of the immortality to come, wherein corruption is past, intemperance is at an end, infidelity is cut off, righteousness is grown, and truth is sprung up. Then shall no man be able to save him that is destroyed, nor to oppress him that hath gotten the victory. I answered them and said, This is my first and last saying, that it had been better not to have given the earth unto Adam, or else when it was given him to have restrained him from sinning. What profit is it for man to know this present time, to live in heaviness, and after death to look for punishment? O thou Adam, what hast thou done? For thou it was thou that sinned, thou art not fallen alone, but we all that come of thee. What profit is it unto us? if there be promised us an mortal time, whereas we have done the works that bring death, and that there is promised us an everlasting hope, whereas ourselves being most wicked are made vain, and that there are laid up for us dwelling of health and safety, whereas we have lived wickedly, and that the glory of the Most High is kept to defend them which have led a weary life, whereas we have walked in the most wicked ways of all, that there should be showed a paradise whose fruit endureth forever, wherein is security and medicine, since we shall not enter it. For we have walked in unpleasant places, and that the faces of them which have used abstinence shall shine above the stars, whereas our faces shall be blacker and than darkness. For while we lived with committed iniquity, we considered not that we should begin to suffer for it after death. Then answered he me and said, This is a condition of the battle, which man that is born upon the earth shall fight, that if he overcome, he shall suffer as thou hast said, but if he have the victory, he shall receive the things that I say. But this is the life whereof Moses spoke unto the people while he lived, saying, Choose thee life, that thou mayest live. Nevertheless, they believed him not, nor yet the prophets after him, nor which have spoken unto them, that there should not be such heaviness in their destruction as shall be joy over them that are persuaded to salvation. I answered them and said, I know, Lord, that the Most High is called merciful, and that he hath mercy upon them which are not yet come into the world, and upon them also which turn to his law, and that he is patient and long suffered those that have sinned as his creatures, and that he is bountiful, for he is ready to give where it needeth, and that he is of great mercy, for he multiplied more and more mercies to them that are present, and that are past, and also to them which are to come. For if he shall not multiply his mercies, the world would not continue with them that inherit therein. And he pardoned, for if he did not see of his goodness, that they which have committed iniquities might be eased of them, the 10,000th part of man should not remain living. And being judged, if he should not forgive them that are cured with his word, and put out the multitude of contentions, there should be very few peradventure, and an innumerable multitude. Right, let's slide right to the Good News Translation. And I had it turned up. No matter, I'll turn it up again. Come on. Second Esdras, chapter 7, verse 1. When I had finished speaking, the same angel that had been sent to me on the earlier nights appeared again. He said, Stand up, Esdras, and listen to what I have to tell you. Go ahead, sir, I said. He continued, Picture in your mind a broad, immense sea spreading over a vast area, but with an entrance no wider than a river. No one who wishes to enter that sea, whether to visit it or control it, can reach its broad expanse of water without passing through the narrow entrance. Or take another example. Picture a city built on a plain. The city is full of all kinds of good things, but the entrance to it is narrow and steep, fire on one side and deep water on the other side. The one path between the fire and the water is so narrow that only one person at a time may walk on it. If anyone inherits the city, he cannot take possession of his inheritance without passing through this dangerous entrance. That's right, sir, I said. This is how it is with the people of Israel, he added. I made this world for their sake, but when Adam broke my commands, the world came under my judgment. Then the entrances into the world were made narrow and difficult to travel. They were rough, dangerous, and few in number. But the entrances to the great world to come are wide and safe and lead to immortality. If anyone who lives must walk the narrow, everyone who lives must walk the narrow and meaningless ways of the world in order to receive the blessings stored up in the world to come. So, Esdras, why are you upset and disturbed by the thought that you are mortal and must die? Why don't you think about the age to come rather than the present age? I answered, Lord and Master, in your law, you said that the righteous would receive all these blessings, but that the wicked would perish. The righteous men can endure all the difficulties of this narrow way because they look forward to the broad and open life of the future. But the wicked must pass through the narrow way without any hope in seeing broad, open life. The angel replied, Do you think you are better judged than the Most High? Do you think you are wiser than God, the Most High? It's better to let many people of the present age perish than to allow them to neglect the law that the Most High has given them. The Most High has given clear commandments to everyone coming into his world, telling them what they must do to obtain life and to avoid punishment. But the wicked shall not listen and refuse to obey him in their foolishness. They have made their own wicked and deceitful plans. They denied the existence of the God Most High and refused to follow his ways. They have rejected his law and refused to accept his promises, disobeyed his decrees, and failed to do what he commanded. That's the reason, Esdras, that there is emptiness for the empty and fullness for the full. That's lucky. For that's the reason, Esdras, that there is emptiness for the empty and fullness for the full. The time is coming when these signs will take place. The invisible city will appear, and the land that is now hidden will be seen. Everyone who survives the calamities I have predicted will also see the wonderful things I will do. My son, the Messiah, will be revealed together with those who come with him. He will bring 400 years of happiness to all these survivors. At the end of that time, my son, the Messiah, and all human beings will die. Then the world will return to its original silence. In 7 days, it will be like it was at the beginning. No one will be left alive. After 7 days, this corrupt age will pass out of existence, and a new age will be awakened. The ground will give up its dead who slept there in silence, and the souls of the dead will be released from the places where they have been kept. The Most High, will appear on his judgment seat. Mercy and patience will vanish completely and be replaced by judgment. Truth and faithfulness will once again stand firm. The good and the bad that people have done will be fully revealed, and reward and punishment will follow immediately. The pit of torment, the fires of hell will appear, and opposite them, the paradise of joy and rest. Then God the Most High will say to the nations that have been raised from the dead, Look, I am the one whom you have denied and refused to serve. It is my commandment that you have rejected. Look around you. There is joy and peace in one direction, fire and torment in the other. That's what he will say to them on Judgment Day. On Judgment Day, there will be no sun, moon, or stars, no cloud, thunder, or lightning, no wind, water, or air, no darkness, evening or morning, no summer, spring, or winter, no heat, frost, or cold, or hail, rain, or dew, no moon, night, or dawn, no daylight, brightness, or light. The only light will be the dazzling brightness of the God Most High, making it possible for everyone to see. The judgment will last 7 years. That's the arrangement I have made for Judgment Day. But I have revealed these things only to you. Then I said, Lord, I repeated what I said earlier. How fortunate are the people who can live now and obey your command. But what about those for whom I have been praying? There is no one in the present generation who has not sinned, no one who has not broken your covenant. Now I understand that the world to come will bring joy to only a few, but torment to many. The evil impulse within us has grown, and it has led us away from the Most High's ways, brought us to ruin, put us on the way to death and destruction, and taken us far from life. It has destroyed not only a few, but almost everyone who was ever created. Listen to me, the angel said, and I will teach you further and correct your thinking. Because only a few will be saved, the Most High created two worlds instead of only one, as you say. Only a few people are righteous, but there are a large number of wicked people. But listen, if you had only a few precious stones, would you add lumps of lead and clay to them in order to have more? Surely no one would do that, Sarah answered. Take another illustration, he continued. The earth itself will give an answer if you humbly ask it. So lucky my battery is dying, so I got to make a rush to charge it, to plug in my charger. Okay, I'm back. Good. 55. Whether it produces more gold, silver, copper, iron, lead, or clay, there's more silver than gold, more copper than silver, more iron than copper, more lead than iron, and more clay than lead. So judge for yourself which are more desirable and vulnerable, common things or rare things. I answered, Lord and Master, the common things are cheap. It is rare things that are valuable. All right, he said. So draw the logical conclusion that people who what is scarce has more reason to be pleased than the people what is plentiful. It is the same with the judgment that I promise. I will be pleased with the few who will be saved, because they are the ones who now praise and honor me and make my name known. I will not be sad about the large number of people who will be lost, because even now they last no longer than a vapor. They disappear like fire and smoke. They catch fire and blaze up and quickly go out. Then I said to the earth, what you have done when you gave birth to the rest of creation. You gave birth to reason. It would have been better if you had never been created. Then we humans would never have had the power of reasoning. But as it is now, our reasons grows up with us and then torment us because we realize that we are going to die. Compared to us, who must bear sorrow? The dumb animals must be happy. They are much better off than we are. They do not have to look forward to the judgment. They are not aware of any torment or salvation that's promised to them after death. What good is it to us that we are going to be given life in the future if it is to be a life of terrible torments? Everyone who is born is caught in the web of sin, full of wickedness and burden of guilt. I think it would be better if after death we did not have to face judgment. The angel replied, when God Most High was creating the world as well as Adam, his descendants, the first thing he did was to get everything ready for judgment. So you ought to learn from your own words. You said that your reason grows up with you. And that's the point. The people of this world used their reason and sinned. They received the Most High commandments, but did not keep them. They accepted the law and then disobeyed it. And that's why they suffered torment. What excuse can they offer at the judgment? How can they answer at the last day. God, the Most High, has been very patient with the people of this world for a long time, but it has not been for their sake. It's done for the sake of the age to come. Then I said, Sir, may I ask you please to explain to me what happens when we die, when each of us must give back our soul? Will we be kept at rest till the time we begin to make your new creation? Or will our torment begin immediately? I will answer that question also, replied, but do not include yourself in those who will be tormented, because they have no use for religion. After all, you have a treasure of good works stored up with God the Most High, which will not be shown unto you until the last days. But to answer your question about death, when God the Most High has pronounced the final decree that a person shall die, the soul leaves the body to return to the one who gave it. Immediately it praises the glory of the Most High, God the Most High. Let me explain first about people who had no use for the ways of God the Most High and hated those who worship him. There is no place where their soul can go for rest. They must wander around forever in torment, grief, and sorrow. Their torment will progress in 7 stages. First, they ignore the law of God the Most High. Second, they can no longer make a sincere repentance and obtain life. Third, they see the reward stored up for those who put their faith in the covenant of God the Most High. Fourth, they think about the torment that has been stored up for them in the last days. Fifth, they see angels guarding the homes of other souls in complete silence. Sixth, they recognize that they must soon be tormented. Seventh, the worst of all, when they see the glory of God Most High, they are sick with remorse and shame. They cringe in fear because while they were living, they sinned against him, and now they are about to come before him to be judged on the last day. Now let me explain about those who followed the ways of God the Most High and what will happen when the time comes for them to leave their mortal bodies. While they lived on earth through constant difficulty and danger, they served God the Most High and carefully kept the law given by the lawgiver. That is what they will receive. They will rejoice when they see the great glory of the Most High. He will receive them, and they will enter their rest in 7 stages of joy. The first joy is to have struggled hard and won the victory over the evil impulses which have formed in them, but which did not succeed in leading them from life to death. The second is to see the endless wandering of the souls of the wicked and the punishment that is waiting them. The third is to know what a good report the Maker has given about them, that during their lifetime they kept the law that was entrusted to them. The fourth is to appreciate the rest that they are to enjoy the places where they have been brought together, guarded by angels in complete silence and with the glory that is waiting for them in the last day. The fifth is to rejoice that they have now escaped the cruel world and that they will receive the future life in their possession. They can see both the narrow, troubled world from which they have been freed and spacious world they will receive and enjoy forever. The sixth is to be shown how their faces will shine like the sun and how they are to be like the light of the stars that never die. The seventh joy, the best of all, is when they rush to meet the Most High face to face with perfect trust and happiness without any fear or shame. They served him during their lifetime, and now they will receive from him their reward and glory. These rewards that I have been telling you about are those that have been prepared for the souls of the righteous. I described to you earlier the torment that the rebellious will suffer. Then I answered, when the souls of the righteous are separated from their bodies, will they be given time to see what you have done, what you have told me about? They will be free for 7 days, he answered, and during that time, they will be able to see the things I have told you about. After that, they will be brought together with other souls in their homes. Then I said, Sir, please tell me whether the righteous will be able to ask the Most High God the Most High to show mercy on the unrighteous of judgment. Will fathers be able to pray for their children, children of parents, brothers for brothers, relatives for those near to him, and friends for those dear to them? I will be happy to tell you, he replied. Judgment day is final and sets the final seal on truth for all to see. You know that it is this age of a father cannot send his son to be sick for him, or sleep, or eat, or be healed for him. An owner cannot send his slave to do things for him, nor can a person send his best friend. In the same way, on that day, no one will be able to pray for another person. Each person will receive the punishment or reward for his own sinfulness or righteousness. If that is so, I answered, how can we explain what we find in the scriptures? Abraham prayed for the people of Sodom, and Moses for our ancestors who sinned in the desert. Later, Joshua prayed for the people of Israel in the time of Achan, and Samuel prayed for them in the days of Saul. David prayed at the time of epidemic, and Solomon prayed for those who are going to worship in the temple. Elijah prayed that the people might have rain, and for a dead person to come back to life. Hezekiah prayed for people during the time of Sennacherib, and there are many other examples. The righteous people prayed for the unrighteous during such times. Then corruption increased. When corruption increased and injustice multiplied, why won't the same thing happen at Judgment Day? The present age is not the end of everything, the angel said. Even in this age, the glorious presence of the Most High is not always seen. That's why the strong have prayed for the weak during this age. Self-indulgence and disloyalty will be eliminated. Righteousness and truth will reach their full maturity. So on Judgment Day, no one will be able to have mercy on those who have been condemned, and no one will be able to harm those who have been acquitted. I answered, I made this point before, and I will make it again. It would have been better if the earth had never produced Adam, or when it had done so, if he had made him so that he could not sin. What good is it for any of us to have life in this present age, when it is full of misery, and when all we can look forward to the offer is punishment? O Adam, what have you done? Your sin was not only your own downfall, it was also the downfall of all of us who are your descendants. What good is it to us that we have promise of immortal life when we have committed sins that condemn us to death? What good is the hope of eternity when we find ourselves in such a completely hopeless situation? What good is it that safe and secure homes have been prepared for us in the future when we have lived such wicked lives? What good is it the promise that glorious presence of the God the Most High will protect those who have lived pure lives when our own lives have been full of sin? What good is it paradise is shown us, that is imperishable fruit can heal us and provide us all we need when we can never go because we have lived unacceptable lives? What good is it that the faces of those who practice self-control will shine more brightly than the stars when our own faces will be blacker than the night? Never in our whole lives when we sin did we think about what we would have suffered after death. The angel replied, here is the meaning of the conflict that every person on earth must endure. If he is defeated, he must suffer the things you have just told me about. But if he is victorious, he will receive the rewards that I have just mentioned. That is why Moses long ago urged the people to choose life so they might live. But they did not believe him or the prophets who came after him, and they did not believe when I spoke to him. So the sadness over their destruction is nothing compared to the great joy over the salvation of those who believe. I answered, Sir, I know that God Most High is spoken of as merciful because he shows mercy to those who have not yet entered this world. He is called compassionate because he shows compassion to those who repent and obey his law. He is thought of as a patient because is patient. He is also thought of as patient because he is patient with his own creature who have sinned. He is known as generous because he prefers to give rather than to demand. And he is known as very forgiving because he continues to forgive sinners of the past, present, and future. If he did not continue to forgive, there would be no life for this world, nor the people in it. He is spoken of as pardoning because if it were not for his goodness in pardoning sinners, no one person in 10,000 would gain life. He is called judge because he pardons and blots out the many sins of those who were created by his word. If he did not, only a handful of the whole world of the human race would be left. It's like, yeah, that was pretty awesome. This offer a complete, a nice interpretation of what it means to either receive the reward and receive the judgment, as it spoke clearly about the 7 things to expect on either way. That's very awesome. Okay, and scary, so we constantly pray that we're the hopeful elect and that we're doing what it takes to receive the goodness of the Lord and receive the benefits. Okay, I'm gonna close this, stop sharing. So I was gonna read chapter 8, but I didn't realize that chapter 7 on the Good News Translation it seemed to be almost double as in the King James Version. So I won't do that. I'll just end it here. So I pray that you receive some edification, that you enjoyed the story, and that if you get the chance, go over, read it again, because this is awesome. The way that the men of the Lord puts these thoughts on paper is the greatest ports on the earth are absolutely, the Israelites who created this book through the men of the Lord using Yahushua's words. That is just too awesome. I pray the Lord. I'm trying to say, Thwada for creating me as an Israelite, Thwada, because he could have been anything, but he made us Israelites, and he made us to serve. So I'm going to give my this disclosure. Okay, stay aware of the coming prophecies. The MOTB is right around the corner, and one of the prophecies, or an event that's coming in October 4th about cell phones, TVs, and electronic signals, the test of the emergency broadcast system. Could be something, could be nothing, as the elder spoke of. But handle it according to, what I want to say, according to what you see fit. But I really don't think that that's the appropriate way to just to bring it out. But I myself, I'm just going to turn off my electronic devices. I'm sure that I'll hear it, or everybody around me will have it. I'm not going to take I just don't trust Esau. Period. I don't trust this system. So I'm just going to participate. So so I want you to repent and continue in his truth. So with that, Shalom, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushai, Kwame Yashala, and the Bible Bob. Till next. Shalom.